Audio test, audio test. Audio test, audio test. Yeah, that's good. I can see it here. Yeah. I need to concentrate, mate. Thanks. Okay. You ready? Almost there, yes. And let's go. Welcome, welcome. Right, Brian? Oh, welcome back, everybody. Great to be here live in person versus a pre-recording. So excited to have today with you. Today is actually part of a three-part series that we're going to do as we go deeper and deeper in expanding your knowledge and your expertise and your skills as a Flow engineer. So Flow Friday, episode 45, 30th of May, 2025. And we're coming live from Cebu in the Philippines. So great to be here with the team. Looking forward to seeing you all here sometime in the future as well. Come visit us. Hey, this week, actually, in Manila, we ran our first AI Agent Mastery for Business full-day workshop, along with YPO, Young Presidents Organization, YPO Pearl C. That was on the 27th of May, and it was a full house. Not surprisingly, it's a hot topic, and we did a full-day workshop where everyone also got a copy of the new book. If you haven't already downloaded the pre-release edition in the PDF, please grab a copy and a coffee, and get into that. There's going to be a more advanced version of it coming out. This one's 47,000 words. The next one is over 70,000 words. So we're going into more detail to be even more helpful. So that one, however, is probably going to come under a new title through a publishing house, and it will have some pre-release and a whole bunch of value adds coming with it as well. So keep your eye out for it. But jump into this because it is the foundation that we'll be sharing and teaching as we progress throughout all of our Flow Friday sessions, so that you can get really essentially hit your AI sweet spot within your organization. Because the thing is, things are moving fast, and definitely on these sessions, the game is to be student first, master second. So, and today, actually, because this is going to be a 3-part series over 3 weeks, I've actually got a bit of homework for you to do. So we'll have a look at, we'll do some builds, we'll look at some theory, I'll share a real world example, and then that's going to give you your foundation to go off and do some work specifically for your business, so that when we come back next week, we're going to layer that up again. It is, and within this, it's all about getting out of our comfort zone, right? So as they say, there's no growth in the comfort zone and no comfort in the growth zone. So the game is to be showing up each week, to push yourself just that little bit more and keep layering on that knowledge, because it's going to stack and compound. So I'm going to refresh on that compounding effect. There's no doubt that we're learning the base skills of building the AI agents, but there's a lot more to it to achieve your AI sweet spot and get that digital transformation happening in your organizations. Realize that sometimes that can feel a bit overwhelming, and that's why it's so good to keep coming back and building up those base skills. And fundamentally to this, from a skills and attributes perspective, critical thinking is such a foundational piece of it. And as we build the tech skills, it's also these other like 5 core skills or attributes. So critical thinking, creativity, agility, the ability to articulate with specificity, and empathy, that are going to be the foundational skills and attributes for us as we are able to enable ourselves so much further with AI. And the thing is, today it's the worst it's ever going to be, which is wild. And the changes that we've seen even in the last 2 weeks are just out of this world. And I want us to keep coming back to thinking about how our organizations will evolve rapidly this year. So if you've got an organization that we would refer to as onshore, being in the country that you're in, of course, we're in the Philippines, we refer to ourselves as offshore in the relationship with our clients, that our org charts will evolve not just to have onshore and offshore team members, but actually evolving where every single individual is enabled with AI and AI agents and AI tools. And with that, the value exchange that will occur between the team member and the organization around goal delivery gets to be supercharged and really enhanced. And what we'll see is that everyone will end up having multiple AI agents to support them in the work they do around the 4 core treatments. It's going to be things like the single AI agent, the multi-agent workflow, the multi-agent orchestration, which is agentic. And we see a high level of agentic use in vibe coding. And vibe coding is where yourself as an individual or a software developer can simply prompt, and it will start to build out the website or the application. Now, this is going to get really advanced in 2025. It's already sensational to the point that In some organizations, 40 or 50% or more of the code is actually written by the agentic AI agents. And we're going to kind of look at we'll talk about that conceptually from a data perspective or data perspective today, because where vibe coding is taking off for software developers, my prediction is that by the end of this year, vibe working will become a thing. And the reason why I say it's my prediction is because we're going to build that within our systems. So vibe coding, you're able to prompt, and your agentic AI agents actually go off and start to take some action. Let's go a little bit deeper on this. So you talk to one agent, and then it will create a plan from that prompt, and it will delegate the plan and find the agents that are going to help support it. So in vibe coding, you might be chatting to the initial agent. It will then write the plan and then find the right agents underneath, like a back-end coder and a front-end coder, to go and do the work. And then it will check that work's completion against the plan, and then get the QA, the quality assurance agent, to check the code. And if there's any errors, it'll let you know there's an error and then ask you to, would you like the agents to now go and try and fix the error? And so it massively speeds up the process of software development. And one of the reasons it works so well is because of the structure in the data, in how a software program is developed. If you think about your file tree that you have within your files, it's a very structured approach to ensure that the data is always in the right spots. That, combined with the fact that you're using specific languages, it means that it's easy for the agent to find the information in the right structure and then check itself against the language. Now, the future of work is going to be thinking about our data and our files in the same way that we structure software. That is going to be one of your breakthrough moments in your organization, to tidy up the data, first of all, within file structures in the organization. And then next will be around about API connections through to different software platforms. And we're going to cover all of this in real great detail across the next 3 weeks, because this essentially, if we can get this portion or conceptually right across the next 3 weeks, you'll then be able to apply that across every section of your organization and prepare yourself for the future of work, which is vibe working, and it's going to be wild. And we also really appreciate that sometimes when you're thinking about where do I even start, what are the different agents I could build, what are the different workflows and automations for the future, well, we're getting you ready for that as well. And in Command Room, we'll be releasing soon to everyone the ability to do some planning. So to put in your around what would the org chart of the future look like, and what are some of those agents, and for it to be able to do things like in the organizational chart at just a high planning level, this is just an ideas generator, to be able to say, what departments do you have in your organization? How many people are in your different departments, onshore and offshore? And then build out an ideas chart generator that can deliver concepts for different types of roles. What are AI agent ideas? What are automation ideas that you can also have as well? So, and then from this, you can start to get into things like looking at where are the opportunities for productivity gains in different sections of the business. Now, what I can say is this is going to get even more sophisticated as the months go on. So I would say next week we'll be playing a bit deeper with this concept. But let's turn now to some AI news. And in all of this change with AI agents and automation, it's natural for people to be being fearful about losing their jobs, especially when we saw Klarna, was it maybe 12 months ago now, they came out and said that they cut 700 of their workforce. So they went from 700 customer service agents down to 70 customer service agents by applying AI agents in those roles. Now, where I think they cut too deep too soon is the reality. And they missed the important understanding that AI is probabilistic in nature, generative AI, whereas in software, it's deterministic by nature. It's very specific in its outcomes. And what happened at Klarna was that they've found that well, essentially they cut too deep too soon. They went for replacement of people versus amplified intelligence, which is where you're helping the individual to enhance their results with the power of AI. And that's the game, right? Let's see everyone rise up to deliver higher results and take the whole organization forward versus this being played out as a cost-cutting activity. Now, reality is, of course, when people are improving their results, if some people don't get on board to use AI and improve those results, they're no longer going to be able to compete. And so there won't be positions. And it's just like, where AI is just a tool, like it's saying if someone was using pen and paper in accounting and then you jump all the way through to Excel or an accounting management package, and people didn't upskill, they're going to get left behind. So let's make sure people don't get left behind. Let's upskill them. What I think is great to see from Klarna is they're learning. They're now hiring humans again. Well done, Klarna, and going, no doubt, for this amplified intelligence approach versus the replacement. I think that is the future. So amplified intelligence, it's the combination of the AI processing power plus human intuition. It's bringing these two things together that really makes the difference. And anytime that we're in digital transformation, it is going to be a process of upskilling everyone and not this reduction. That's our view. Okay, the other things that happened in the news, we did hear in the same last week was the CEO of Anthropic saying that he believes that by 2026, the first single person or company will be at $1 billion valuation. You're going to hear stuff like this in the news. When you hear this, I think the fear moment comes in. The reality is $1 billion valuation companies are the outliers. They're very rare unicorns. The rest of us mere mortals in business are going to be scaling with team members amplified with AI. The game, of course, is to notice that it's about going all in now versus dabbling with it. And there'll be people who ignore and resist this. Those that will dabble will probably drop down a bit. Those that go all in will see that continued success this year. The thing is, though, it's the compounding impact. And as my friends at The Collective, John Foltz and the team shared recently, I want to recap this one to reinforce it with today's message, is that this is a compounding growth impact month on month. And within 12 months, it'll be good luck catching us in your organization compared to your competitors by going all, especially with what we've got coming with version 2 of Raya, which my plan is that you'll be playing with on Flow Friday next week. We'll see how the final stages of polish go off on that, but the plan is that you'll be playing with that on Flow Friday next week. Of course, those compounding gains, this one's hard to fathom at first, which is things like a 50% gain month on month. Some of that will come from your skills and knowledge of being a flow engineer and going through systematically in the organization and putting in AI agents and automation. But another part of it is going to come because the models are going to get better. And the underlying models will just further enhance the work that you've got with your AI agents and automation. Here's an example of, if you haven't seen this one, actually, I'm going to jump to a different one. If you haven't seen this, this is Gemini Live, now available in Android and iOS. And this is one of these indicators of when the models get so powerful, why we will see these massive jumps. So check out this one.
Should I be nervous about this?
It looks like your SRS airbag light is on. That means there's an issue with your airbag system. It's best to get that checked out by a mechanic as soon as possible to make sure your airbags will work properly if you need them.
Glad I asked. Thanks, Gemini.
What do you think of that? What do you think of, what's the impact when we can hold up our phone in the real world and get an analysis and get feedback. And imagine this, like if you saw the video from last week's session, I showed the Google Glass, the new Android XR glasses, and that's going to be a great form factor. But also, even if you don't have the glasses, you're going to be able to get support along the way. Now, imagine this next stage of what's coming is where to be able to then, this is our future too. You've got all your business data, all your information, all your AI with Ray agents, and then we connect it to Google Gemini Live here now, so that you can be very specific about help documentation. If you've got someone who goes out on the road that's doing like servicing of activities with clients, or maybe they're an area manager that's doing a review or assessment of a location, and they're not sure, they'll be able to bring out their phone. Even if they don't have their glasses, you'll be able to go straight to it. But right now, you should give that a go. That's live. Another thing that's happening is around the quality of these models. Let's look at this one from Google and just how advanced Gemini is getting.
Hello everyone, good morning. Welcome to Google I/O. We want to get our best models into your hands and our products ASAP. I'm particularly excited about the rapid model progress. And today, Gemini 2.5 Pro sweeps the LM Arena leaderboard in all categories.
Hey, so what happened there? Oh my goodness. We saw Google have essentially their Empire Strikes Back moment on OpenAI by delivering just the most groundbreaking, massive drop with Gemini, and it's so powerful. And then 2 days later, Anthropic drops Claude Opus 4 and Claude Sonnet 4 and smashes the software development benchmarks again. So what's going to happen next? It's got to be OpenAI's GPT-5, right? And it's just going to be this constant fight between the different big players, which is so cool, right? Because we all get to benefit in this level of competition that's going on. Now, there's no doubt that in software development, this is going to fly. And OpenAI bought Windsurf, which is an agentic coding agent, for $3 billion. Cursor raised $900 million. We use Cursor at work. And Apple's integrating Claude. So this speed is going to go on. And the learnings that we see in STEM, so science, technology, and maths, what have I missed there? Engineering and maths, is then going to flow over into our daily works. And so where things like vibe coding, and I'll show you an example of vibe coding from Google's new agentic agent for coding, which is called Jules. Where did you go, Jules? One sec. Let's have a look at how Jules plays out. Now, that was pretty fast. If it's your first time seeing this, I'll explain a bit what happened. The working with an agentic agent in software development in this vibe coding approach, you're giving it a request, it writes a plan, it then goes off and does these tasks and then brings that result back to you. And if there's an error, you can talk to it about the error and get it to fix the error. Now, that conceptually is where work is going to go. That's the future. It works very well in software development because of the structure. And the game today is to start thinking about this type of structure for the future. And just remembering, if we look at an image like this was mid-journey from February 22 to May 22, right? Look how fast that went then. And the speed at which we're working in is next level. By the way, if you like mid-journey, make sure you follow my friend Rory Flynn, because he is just the mid-journey master and can do so many cool tricks. He's worth following. But let's go back to business data and structure. I want you to start thinking about the file structure in your organization and how you lay this out. Start thinking about the departments that we have and start getting an order to it, like the flow that we see from a customer journey. Right? We always start at marketing, then we go into sales, and then customer service, and then you've got operations, which is called many different things in different organizations because it depends on the organization. But the operations part is where you deliver your widgets or your customer service. And that can have many branches under it. Then, of course, you've got IT to keep all your technology running in the organization. Then you've got your human resources or talent management or people and culture. That can go into organizational development and learning development, and it branches down. But if the high level pillar is there, then you've got finance, and then depending on the size of your organization, you might have a legal, and then you've got your executive and strategy. Now, how you choose to name those and number them, the key is keep it in that flow of the way that the customer journey works, and how you would lay out an org chart so that there's consistency in how we present the data. And then when you get down into something like sales, as an example, that might break down into sales, business development, sales, account management. Now, notice what I've done here. I've got a numbering convention to help those files stay in that order. If I don't use the numbering convention, the naming convention with numbers, what will happen is that they'll get out of order. They'll be ordered in the alphabetical format. So, or alphabetically, chronologically, we see how the data is structured. And the reason why we want to start doing it this way is that when like software and computers initially are reading information, they're going from left to right, and they're organizing in this order. So we need to start to think about our naming conventions. You also notice what I did here is I didn't start with 1 marketing, 2 sales, 3 customer service. I started with 0, 1. And the reason for that is that when we go to the file number 10, file folder 10, because the system reads left to right, if this was just 1, we would see 1 and 10 put together. So we'd be out of order. We wouldn't be able to order this in that numbering convention. So if you're going to go over 10, start with a 0. If you're to go over 100, start with 0, 0, and then 1. Then as you go down into these subfolders, let's keep that numbering convention and for order to also make it easier for the AI later on to really understand the association between these. Because eventually what happens is all of your data is going to go into a vector database. So when the AI is reading what's in your file folders and the files, it's actually going to read that once and then convert it. Well, there's a process for what's called retrieval augmented generation, or RAG for short, so retrieval augmented generation. And in the process to make that work, the data actually needs to be taken into, chunked down and converted into vectors. So vectors are an array of numbers. It looks a little bit like a longitude and latitude, if that helps you think about it. That's what helps me think about it, because the data is then going to be displayed on a graph, and associations of that data will come together. This is the machine learning part, and how the machine understands that written text or images and so forth that we're using. So our naming conventions are going to give us structure, so that as a human, it's even more easy to read in its ordering, but it's going to make it even more powerful for the AI to understand the relationships between different files and sections. Now, the LLMs do a great job anyway with the relationships, or with data, but because what we're doing here first is wanting to get that data converted into the arrays, we want to structure its naming convention to make it work better. Yeah, Nice is giving me a very nerdy emoji here right now. We're going a bit deeper, aren't we? From this, from this naming convention starting point, it's kind of where we're going to head to today. We're going to have a look at, in sales, the concept of account management. And in this three-part series, what we'll look at, I'll jump over to, and we do have some working files. I'll be dropping those to you soon. Let's have a look at, that out of the way. Sorry, move this out of the way. We're going to have a look at, in this three-part series, looking at an agent, tools, data from a knowledge-based perspective, and data from a live data perspective. And in this first session, we will look at a solution sales role-playing agent. Now, we've done some work with that in an earlier Flow Friday session. Today is more about getting your data right to make those agents work more effectively for your business specifically. And so I'm going to show you a new structure and a way to get your data together that's going to make that agent even smarter than ever before. This is part one, week one. So we're going to have a look at how to set up your data for your products and services and solution sales examples so that you can make that agent more effective. And then your homework will be to go and work on your products and services and solution sales examples in preparation for next week. Then next week, we're going to look at the concept of the meeting review and coaching agent. So we want, first of all, to be able to help people to role play effectively based on the knowledge of your products and services and understanding examples, but we need to create the data for that. Then next week, we have a look at, imagine that you've now got the person who's been able to practice and train with that information. They're now having a sales meeting. And from that, we need to give some coaching and feedback. Now, often that doesn't happen because people are so busy, or you can't review all the call recordings. And of course, there are some amazing call recording software out there like Fathom, and even Teams and Zoom have great recording in it, but it's the analysis afterwards that's the key. And there are some really awesome systems, and I'll show one next week as I remember the name of it out there. I'll show a couple of examples of these sales analysis platforms. They're really expensive, and you've got to be a big business to access them. And so this is like giving you the power of those bigger platforms in a way that's going to support your team members. And also I'll show you how we can make this an even stronger benefit than what you see on these other platforms, all from Raya. And we'll have a look at then utilizing data from here and this agent, and then a new agent, which will be the coaching agent, to review those call recordings. And how we'll be able to start to connect these to the data live, so that after a meeting has occurred, those transcriptions can get stored, the analysis can get done, and the feedback can go to the team member. We'll also have a look then in week 3 about pre-meeting preparation from past calls. So the idea here is that we'll be looking at even connecting your CRM tools, so file storage tools, CRM tools. We'll look at how you can connect data from your CRM, from those call recordings, to your products and services and solution sales data, all of this together, so that you can do pre-meeting preparation based on previous calls. Now that's starting to get a fair bit of data, right? And starting to get quite advanced. As a 10 years of experience in solution sales, and I've done lots of sales training, that would be the type of activity I would do. I'd go back and review my notes, review my call history, or I'd have that experience so that in the moment I'd be fully prepared. I'd know my client really well. But of course, in business, we have challenges like someone's away sick, or somebody leaves, a new person needs to take over. How do we get a person up to the highest level standard of quality in sales and understanding the customer? Well, it'll be this play that helps us to do that and really scale it out. Okay, so let's get into having a look at today's worksheet, and I'm going to share that one now into the chat. I've actually got 3 documents for today. So here's the first one. And so jump onto that one. There we go. People are coming on. Fantastic. So sales enablement for account management, part 1 is what we're looking at here. So the difference between, you've got sales that does business development. So that's obtaining the new clients. And then we've got we've got account management, which is about the customer success and getting the radiation of sales or expanded sales or upselling or cross-selling your products to existing clients. And in account management, we need to understand the client in a lot of detail. We need to understand our products and services in detail. And today's session is actually inspired from the leadership coaches and account managers at GoTeam, who I was at a leadership session this week, and Monaco from our team said, as we asked the question, our CEO, Fiona, my sister, asked the question on a regular basis. We do it in our one-on-ones and our leadership sessions. What have you done differently with AI this week in order to enhance your role? And the team came back and said, well, actually, we have created AI agents specifically for our clients so that we can, client by client, do role-playing activity with them. So hats off to them. Well done, team. And thank you, because you've inspired today's session across the next few weeks. And we're just going to supercharge it even more across the next 3 weeks. So we're going to cover the challenge, an example, and this week 1 is about creating the first agent, and then creating the data is the key, which is going to end up having the homework piece for you, because once you understand the data, then you've got to go off and create it in order for this to work really well for you. Next week, we'll update that agent, we'll use the agent, and we'll go and create the next ones. And then week 3, is where we're going to go really advanced. And we're going to connect to CRM and call recordings. And next week, we're going to also analyze the call recordings. And the thing is, we're going to do that based on your own company information. So if you're in a situation where you've got some sales calls that you can record and have those available for the session, that'll be really advanced. But I'll make sure we get some dummy calls available for you for next week. So if you're in a situation where your organization, you're just getting started and you're not this advanced, I'll make sure we've got some synthetic data for you to work with next week. Okay, so here's the challenge. We're creating a digital work teammates. Have I got the right? Oh my goodness, I've given you the wrong file. I've gone and edited my current file. Oh my goodness, I hope I didn't lose it all. If not, I'll rebuild it for you in here. Let's come back to it. So scratch that file, it's not the right one. Let me go to... Goodness me. Oh, what have I done? That is not the right file. What was I saying about file management and the importance of it? 20025. Well, this is fun. I've gone and I wrote over my work. Let me see if I can undo or redo to get to where I was before. Nope. Wonderful. Let's do it live together. So here's the challenge, and I'll just go back to some of my work. You really know we're live, right? So here is part of the challenge. You get to see how I create these things here. okay, we need to upskill. I said, what are some of the challenges when it comes to upskilling our managers, our account managers? And here are the answers that come out. So let's just build it live together. We'll fix it, and I'll change the name of that one to what it should have been. I don't know what happened to that file. 530. And we'll do sales enablement for account managers. All right. So it comes down to, I'll just get rid of that part there. So here's the challenge. You've got diverse skill sets. That's a key part, right? So different account managers have got various skills. There's always gaps between them. And you actually don't want everyone exactly the same. There's the benefit of having like different people, different styles that you can work from. But it is important that people have the knowledge. Time constraints are huge on organizations, the ability to do training, that as well as you got your time constraints, but then you've got the Ebbinghaus forgetting scale, right? That we forget 50% within 1 hour and 90% within a week. There's resistance to change. You know, people don't like change unless it's their choice. We may not be measuring things as effectively as possible. Actually allocating resources can be a challenge. Maintaining engagement, 100%. And just knowledge retention. There's that Ebbinghaus forgetting scale. But when I was building out the documentation, I went a bit further. I said, what about knowledge transfer? Because knowledge transfer is also a challenge. So you've then got number 8, which is knowledge transfer. And when you've got that as an issue, then it's got a whole subset of issues as well. And so I said, well, you know, what about knowledge transfer of client information to a new account manager? And then what comes back is these next challenges, right? So we've got incomplete documentation. Okay, put a 1 in the chat if you feel like you've got incomplete documentation, right? All of us. And then what about communication gaps? Put a 2 in the chat if you ever think there's miscommunication between people. Yeah, oh my gosh, so easy to do. Now here's a really important and powerful one, client relationships. So you've got a existing client account manager, great relationship, new account manager needs to step in. Oh my goodness, everyone feels like, it can be for the client, like, oh, I need to go back through and retrain this account manager with all the information. That's the part we're going to get a big breakthrough in week 3 as we look at how you connect to your systems. Of course, it is all dependent upon keeping your data updated. There's varied standards of information and how it's stored and how it's set out. So we're going to look at that. Naturally, time constraints, always need to move fast. And then training difficulties, just getting people up to speed, not having fit for purpose systems to assist in that. So we're going to enhance these outcomes using the AI agents and frameworks. And we'll start first by creating a solution sales. Yeah, I've gone for version control, and thank you for the tip, but we've built it now anyway, so it's totally fine. We're going to build an agent, and then we're going to have a look at the data that's required behind it. I'll give you a bit of a sneak peek on how this is done internally. And we're even enhancing this. And so whoops, I need to look at, there's a structure that's been put together, which is when we look at the opportunities or indicators for sales enablement, there are essentially 11 key ones in this business. I'm not going to show all these or share this because this is the IP in the organization, but I'm going to share one of the indicators as an example. The indicator could be something like the client's going through increased revenue growth and financial stability. So it's all going great for them. We put in a definition here. So the clients reporting consistent revenue growth over multiple quarters, positive forecasts for future sales based on market trends, and financial reports are showing healthy margins, cash flow, indicating the ability to invest in new hires. whether that information is available or not depends on what type of organization you are working with clients. Or they might have access to funding, and that there's been reports on that from a capital raising perspective. Now, the thing is, if you've got lots of experience in solution sales and account management, all of this will come naturally. But if you don't, we've got to learn it. And so even if you can intellectually understand that this is an indicator and these elements go to help define it, the reality is we may not know what to listen out for. And so it's there where we need to create examples of what a client might say based on that indicator. Now, what I'm giving you here is a framework so that for your own organization, you can come up with what are the indicators that a person, potential or a current client might have going on in their organization that's an indicator that you can upsell, cross-sell, extend your sales opportunities to that particular client. Now, we can understand that intellectually, but then we need to be prepared to hear the words that actually connect to that indicator. And so what you can do is, and I'm going to show you how to do it today, get the AI to write examples of that for you to then put this into your base documentation. And then after that, you can go into things like example of how to respond. If it's a yes, or if it's a no, there's no changes, or if it's undetermined, or if it's decreasing. And it's this level of detail. I remember doing this in solution sales, and everyone have to be writing it out to try and practice it to come up with the ideas. Now we're going to just propel ourselves forward at a massively advanced rate to create this. So let's just start by creating a solution sales agent. Some of you might have one from a previous session. Let's head on over to Raya Pro. We'll create the foundation agent, and then we're going to park it and go off and create some knowledge-based documentation, which will really be your homework. I'm going to show you how to create it. You can come back and watch the video afterwards. And you want to take some time across the next week to get these 2 new documents created. It's not something you're going to do instantly because the information doesn't exist in the LLM. It's in your organization. So I'm going to give you the structure, and then you do the homework, and next week's going to be wild. So let's create an agent, which we select agents and then build new agent. And the agent's name is going to be, and you can craft it more for your business, but I'm going to call it a solution sales account management. And just as I will pop that into the chat so you can have the same. You can adjust it further. Now, I would also recommend that you put it for your industry or more specific. Like in a previous one, I think I did solution sales for digital transformation or something like that, right? So you can go more specific for your industry. Category-wise, this would be, you could add in a category for account management, or I'll put in sales here as the simple one. Give it a avatar. I'm going to give it a hugging face, okay, because we want to be helping others. And then let's create that goal statement by selecting generate. Okay, and then we'll create the backstory. Oh, we're going to go so advanced. I'm so excited these next 3 weeks. So there's our backstory, and then we'll generate the base instructions. Okay, we've all done this before. I'm pretty sure everyone's been on before. Way it goes. We'll give it professional as well. Like you choose what's best for you. I'm going to do professional and influential for these 2 here. Depending on the type of role it is and how technical, you could change that. We'll create the agent. Now, for this agent to be supercharged, there's 2 things that we need to do. One is that we're going to need to add some knowledge to it. okay, to get it really specific for your organization. I'm going to show you how to build that next, and that will be the homework. The other thing to do when we come back next week is that we're actually going to enhance the backstory from your base instruction information. And I'll show you the prompt for that for next week so that we can get it even more specific. So the reminder to, or refresher, or brand new to consider that the agent itself, this backstory information, is part of like the master prompt for the agent. But then we can enhance its long-term memory, if you think about it that way, from whatever we add to the knowledge base. So here is like short-term memory instruction, being very directive. And then it's got its long-term memory to draw from examples and so forth. And I'm going to show you next week how we shift that. But I want you to have your base documentation first. So let's now have a look at the first base document. And this one is about getting your products and services information together. So when it comes to products and services information, I think it's nice to go back to the framework that we actually see in marketing versus sales at this point in time. And in marketing, it follows, if you follow the Eugene Schwartz's 5 stages of awareness, we go from unaware to problem aware to solution aware to product aware, and then most aware where the purchase actually occurs. Now, interestingly, I know in our organization, probably the same as well, you might have multiple products, multiple services, and a client may purchase one, but is not yet aware of everything else that you have available to them. And so the account manager's role is to make sure they're maximizing the benefits, features and benefits from the current product. And then they're also upselling, cross-selling, enhanced selling the other products and services in the organization. Now, to do that, we need the knowledge of the context of our products and services. We need to understand the challenges that our clients go through, and then be able to map these things together. So, and if we looked at from as another way, if we look at this one here, I've got the references where they've come from. You go from unaware to problem aware to solution aware to product aware, most aware purchase moment. And now, as you're building from the unaware stage, if you're out in marketing, it's stories and secrets and hacks and so forth that help to drive in marketing. That doesn't need to stay out in marketing. It also works really well inside of account management because people learn from sales, from storytelling. It's very engaging. But to do that well, then we need to be able to connect to benefits and things like emotions and anxieties. So the solution, what is the actual way to solve it? But then you get into the product, which is features and benefits at this point in time, where you can then go further into if you're going to offer discounts and deals and so forth. And so then all the way through to the purchase. So here's the foundation for how to look at each of your features inside your product and service offering. And so for each product and service you have, a product and service feature of your offering, create content for the problem for your customer seeing. So this is the common problem your ideal customer faces. Then you've got solution. What is the desired solution for them? And then what is your product that's going to help solve this? So which of your products or service is the solution to the problem? And then get more specific. What is the specific feature of your product or service that solves this problem? And then the benefit is the final part. What is the specific benefit the client will receive from using the product and its feature? Now, the reason for going into this detail is it's so easy to assume that our account managers and team members know because they're in there using and they see our products and services. But the reality is that even if you explained it verbally all in onboarding, there's no way that someone's going to remember all of that. So they need the documentation to come back to. And most importantly, is that the AI agents are going to need this documentation to read it as well. And the framework, and now I will tell you, this is a bit of work, okay? But this is the fundamental piece to making this work extremely well. To go through and understand what are the problems of our clients. Now, one way you can do this too is to create an ideal customer profile agent, of which we've done in a previous session. And then from that, have a chat with it. What are some of the key problems that clients in my industry are facing? And you could also ask it to develop the solution statements as well. And you can riff with the AI to do that. But the thing that the AI will not know is specifically about your products and services. So you need to get that information together. I recommend that you use Raya to help you write these out. You can even start with just some bullet point information, or if you've got this already written up nicely, it's then getting it to convert it into this process. In fact, if all you really need to do, if you've got a good documentation explaining what your products and services are, take that and then ask it to rewrite it based on this problem, solution, product, feature, and benefit approach. And then you're going to get that detail in there. Okay, so that is homework activity number 1. And because this is quite a long session, I'll even do a couple of supplementary videos on this further. I'll go through and show it in detail, and we'll post those online and we'll send them out to you before the next session so that you've got a little bit of a reminder next week in preparation for Friday's session. Now, the next one is to have a look at client buying signals. So I'll share this one with you now too, and drop this one in the chat. So the client buying signals, indicators, opportunities, and how to respond for account managers. You'll notice that I've put it in square brackets here for account managers, because you can do the same thing for business development, and it can be slightly different because of where they are in the stage of their relationship and their buying cycle with you. So the game here is to create a document with the buying signal indicators and opportunities and how to respond for account managers. Build this document out based on, create a master list of the buying signals that are important in your business. So as I mentioned earlier, in our Go Team People business, there's 11 key indicators or buying signals that we look for. I would love to share that all with you, but that is some pretty serious IP. So I showed you one of them before. If you're not sure, you can riff with the AI. What are some of the buying signals that our specific clients may display? And that's going to give you some ideas. I'll put that into another video. I'll do a mock organization for that. Then expand each of the buying signal indicators with what the buying signal is, what your definition is of that. So how would you explain that to a team member and what to look for? I'll go back and show you one of those again. An example of what the client might say, and examples of how to respond. Core question to ask, how to respond if there are no changes, and how to respond if undetermined, and how to respond to a decreasing response. So it's going in a negative direction. This is some serious content that's being created, right? Like, you go and do this. If you brought a consultant in to build this out for you, this is like $50,000 or more of work that you would need to pay to get this done. And you're going to be able, and this is the beauty, right, of amplified intelligence and enhancing yourself. You're going to be able to do this. Look, I would say you got to give yourself an hour of time each day between now and when we get back together to work on this. And lock that hour in. Tell everyone that I'm not going to be interrupted, because you're fundamentally building this foundation for sales in your organization that's going to take you to the next level. This activity, and when you've got all this, for everyone's business's valuations, will go to the next level, because this is going to be extraordinary documentation that is just not normal out there. Interestingly, the key is having the framework first, and then you're personalizing it for your organization afterwards. So let's have a bit of a look at an example from before. And I've got 5 minutes left. Oh my goodness. I think someone said, where was the 3-day event for this type of stuff? You're right. The example that I had from before, I'll quickly grab that. Where did I, so many files open? One sec. File. Go. Too many files. Okay, what I'll jump into is looking at some of the chat that I was doing earlier with Raya on this one. So as I was also building this out, things like when you've got an indicator, you could be saying, I'm going to do 10. Here's the prompt for the single one, but I'll change it to 5 examples. So you want to say, what are some typical sentences a client might say that indicates they have something, whatever that buying signal is, give me 10 examples. Put that prompt in there. So, and I'll build this out a bit more to get you all your prompts for your document as you build it out. So the when you're in the examples of what a client might say, so examples of what a client might say, the prompt you want to use is, what are some of the sentences a client might say that indicates they have and then insert the indicator. Okay, in this case, rising demand for products and services. Please give me 10 examples. So I'll just put here for 2B, use this prompt. Okay, so, and we'll go for 2B. And that is the first part. So examples of what a client might say. And then after that, examples of how to respond is going to be dependent on your products and service information. So we've got to build that one first before we finalize it. So we're going back and forth a little bit to get your base documentation. And once you've got it, we're going to the moon on this one. So that's going to wrap us for time. My goodness, this really is a 3-week session. Let me have a quick look for some of the questions that might be there. Hopefully the team have answered everything everyone's got. Wow, lots and lots of stuff going on. Okay, cool. The if we've missed something, I will make sure that we get followed up for everyone. The reminder again, jump onto this book. We'll drop the link in so that you can get access to it. The next couple of weeks, we're building out all of the supplementary bonus items that are in the book. There's some really cool tools coming out there from the agility, AI agility check. There's the Kill Your Company game facilitation guides, the strategic roadmap facilitation guides coming there. There's well, in the command room, you've now got the software audit. The software audit in the command room is going to become a very powerful tool, because in the future, it's going to help auto build agents and automations for you based on the software that's in your business. So you can start getting onto that one. It's just jam-packed. So enjoy it, get into it, and it'll give you the foundation for when the version 2 comes out. That'll be next level as well. Hey, thanks everybody. Have an amazing weekend. And I hate to be the school teacher. Do do the homework. But I will send you reminders. We'll send you reminders. Nice, let's do this every day next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And we'll give you little extra snippets to take it further. Block out an hour in your calendar each day and build out this massive foundational piece for your organization. Thanks, everybody. Looking forward to seeing you next Friday, and have a wonderful weekend. Catch you then. Bye for now.